If I can stop one heart from breaking, I shall not live in vain. What a nice, sweet sentiment. A poem connected to this statement must be just one of the most uplifting poems you could ever read, and you connect that type of sentiment with the absolute brain power of someone like Emily Dickinson. And guys, this must be one of the most lovey-dovey, one of the nicest, one of the most sentimental poems of all time. That is not the case. This video is part of 3 separate playlists here on the channel. Number 1 being obviously the Echoes of Emily playlist, but number 2 being a playlist of Emily Dickinson poetry discussions, and third, the general playlist for poetry discussions. If you like or appreciate the work that I do here, hitting the like button really does help me out, as it tells YouTube to share this video with other literature lovers. And if you find yourself here by chance but not design, literature is the only thing that I talk about on this channel, dropping multiple videos every single week. So consider hitting the subscribe button to stick around for more literature in the future. If I can stop one heart from breaking, I shall not live in vain. If I can ease one life the aching, or cool one pain, or help one fainting robin unto his nest again, I shall not live in vain. So we have, through the canon of Emily Dickinson, tons of mentions of God, tons of sort of allusions to other forms of religiosity. We have all sorts of questions of spirituality, questions of what it means to be alive, what does it mean to be dead, what is life actually for, any of these number of things. But to my experience, in my opinion, through the entirety of Emily Dickinson, this is as close as we get to a prayer. How can I say that? Why would I say that? Where is the prayer within this poem? What does that even mean? Now, oftentimes, a prayer will have some direct mention of God, right? Dear Lord, please, ... God in heaven, please, ... Whatever the actual initiation of the religious experience is, it is absent from this poem. That bit is absent from this poem. But listen, if I can stop one heart from breaking, I shall not live in vain. If I can ease one life the aching, or cool one pain, or help one fainting robin unto its nest again, I shall not live in vain. It's easy, I think, to read this poem and imagine that it is being said by someone who is putting their heart out there for use. I do not see that in this poem. What I see in this poem, what I see happening here, this is a prayer for meaning. This is a prayer by someone who says, my life is so small. My life is without such substance that if I can just stop one other heart from breaking, I will not have lived in vain. Now, probably it is not coincidental that that is where we begin this poem. If I can stop one heart from breaking, why would that be the initial thought of someone writing this poem? Probably because the speaker herein is heartbroken. Oftentimes, being heartbroken makes us feel small and insignificant. That's one thing. We've been there, you've been there. It's another thing entirely to say that if my entire existence can stop one other person from feeling what I'm feeling right now, not that someone would feel that way for me, not that someone would give me some reason to live, not that if someone would come and show me the type of love that I think I want and deserve. None of those things. No, 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 no. The speaker here does not believe that he or she is quite so significant to deserve those things. Not at all. Our speaker here is saying simply, if I can stop one heart from breaking, I shall not live in vain. This poem is an incantation, a prayer for meaning. Please, God, if I can stop one heart from breaking, I shall not live in vain. Give me that bit of meaning. Give me that one small respite. Allow me the meaning of stopping someone else's pain. Not being a positive. Not having positivity in my own life. None of that. If I can ease one life the aching, or cool one pain, or help one fainting robin unto his nest again, I shall not live in vain. And these are all ors. There's no and here. This is not quest building. This is an individual saying, if I can stop one person's pain, or even a robin, I shall not live in vain. The place someone has to be. The place someone has to be to say my entire life would be more valuable than it is now if I could just do this one thing, and then I could perish. I would not have been here in vain. I would not have been a blight on the planet. I will not have been a waste of existence. But as of now, I am. That is where this poem comes from. That is that's painful. That's rough. What a wild and sort of incredible depth for this poem to have reached. Now, of course, we have nihilism. Here's the thing. Nihilism is about the strong, right? Nihilism is essentially a philosophy of evolution. The strongest survive, right? But it's the fittest for survival survive, not necessarily the strongest or most intelligent or the fiercest predator, any of those types of things. But nihilism kind of is survival of the strongest, kind of is saying, taking a look at the moral landscape, if you will, and saying, well, I'll just undercut all of that and win. That is nihilism. This, therefore, strikes me as sort of the anti-nihilism. Not only will I not not only do I refuse to undercut other people, I want to be the one who suffers the most. Not only do I not want the great joys of victory, I just want to stop a loss. Now, hauntology, this is actually a very interesting case if we are looking at it through a hauntological lens. There is herein the specter of suffering. Hauntology, of course, comes from a book by Jacques Derrida called Spectres of Marx, of course lifted from the Atheist Manifesto, the Communist Manifesto. There is a specter haunting Europe, the specter of communism. This poem is haunted by the specter of suffering. Now, one of the interesting things is hauntology is very concerned with ghosts. Hauntology is very concerned with the liminal. Hauntology is very concerned with the fact that we only exist in the now. But the now is only the byproduct of the past minus the future, kind of. Everything that has been minus those things that will happen. In that way, suffering is actually one of the realest things. You don't remember suffering quite in the way that you suffered. And suffering in the future, well, that's just known as fear. That's not the same thing. Dread, perhaps. But it's not the same thing as suffering. Suffering really only exists in the now. This poem is about hoping to be that moment of suffering. How would you stop one heart from breaking? How would you ease one life the aching? How would you cool the pain? How would you help the fainting robin? Normally, it is by remedying so to help the fainting robin, you pick it up and put it back in its nest. How do you stop a heart from breaking? There's not quite the blueprint to that one. This is to stop one heart the breaking, to ease one life the aching, or to cool one pain. Kind of mystical. Do you stop one heart from breaking by usurping that heartbreak? Is our speaker wishing to be a pincushion for all the suffering around her? It seems, perhaps, that is the case. And to be that pincushion is to constantly be suffering. To constantly be suffering is to constantly know that you're here now. If I can stop one heart from breaking, I shall not live in vain. If I can ease one life the aching, or cool one pain, or help one fainting robin unto his nest again, I shall not live in vain.